For as long as I've played horror games, there's been an archetype I can't quite seem to escape, but also have never been a huge fan of: pursuers. As a mechanic born from the Resident Evil series, it's intrinsically tied to horror as a whole, making it a staple of the genre. Unfortunately, that also means it happens to be incredibly oversaturated. Especially when it feels like every other new indie horror game has some section where you have to run away from the spooky monster and solve some puzzles on the way, with no real actual interaction with the foe at hand. While I don't hate this mechanic fundamentally, the execution in most games is less than favorable, usually boiling down to an untouchable enemy who follows you until you either hide or distract them in some way. This can be done well, especially in games focused on the scares over all else. Shipwreck 64 comes to mind, as, even if the dwellers are simple, the game has been building tension around them for so long and has such interesting puzzles that they still tend to work very well. That, combined with the fact that each of them has an interesting gimmick, and the fact they only send you to a temporary jail when they jump scare you, instead of killing you and making you restart, makes them feel significantly more fair. Most other games don't really do that. Usually they lean into one specific gimmick throughout an entire game. Take Granny for example. Probably the most generally well-known pursuer even outside of the horror community, she revolves around sound almost entirely, leading to an okay experience, but one that gets pretty stale after a bit because of the non-existent variety. On the other hand, there's one horror pursuer that does horror, challenge, and sound design fantastically. That, of course, is Mr. X or Tyrant from the Resident Evil 2 remake. Mr. X really feels like the final evolution of pursuers in the way he perfectly walks the line of being annoying and being genuinely scary and stressful. Before we talk about his actual gameplay though, I need to set the scene. Throughout most of RE2's early section, the game has been ominous and there's been things around you, but no real big threat. Everything is manageable and killable. Well, that is until a mysterious figure reaches through a wall to hit the subscribe button. I mean, kill an NPC you were talking to with one hand by ripping through a wall, clearly showing you're not alone anymore. As this tension mounts, you eventually reach a section where you must douse a helicopter that was set on fire. Upon doing that, Mr. X appears and throws the entire helicopter to the side, thus begins the real game. This works as a phenomenal introduction to Mr. X, as every threat before this has been killable. Even the Lickers, who you're advised to avoid instead of confront and can't see you, are still killable. Mr. X, on the other hand, is an indestructible foe you can do nothing but run away from, as he'll just shake off any pistol bullets you shoot at him. The only way to temporarily stun him is to get him with a grenade or a heavier duty gun like a shotgun, but even that is merely a minor setback and only gives you a couple extra seconds. I also adore the way the scene is set in his introduction as well, since the area you're first chased in is open enough to feel fair, but also closed enough to actually prepare yourself for his future chases. The ambience is also really nice, as the rain, coupled with the swell of the music, makes for an intense introduction. After his chase sequence, the game gives you a bit of levity, as you escape back to the main lobby, which is a safe area. When you inevitably go back there to complete a segment of the game though, yeah, he chases you back into the lobby, entirely extinguishing any sense that it's a safe room. After that goes down, you'll pretty much just progress through the game with him chasing you down depending on if he sees you. And let me just tell you, it is terrifying. Hearing his footsteps in the distance as you attempt to progress in the game is always intense, but nothing beats the sheer horror of being spotted and not knowing where he is, leading to the sense that you could just turn a corner and be socked in the face at any moment. This is further accentuated with the ominous music that starts playing anytime he spots you. First of all, working as a great mechanic to know when he's chasing you, and second of all, making it very tense. Mr. X is truly just my favorite pursuer because of how well he functions as both a horror and a game mechanic, which I can't say for most pursuers. Probably the biggest thing really going for him is how good the AI is. That keeps the stress level up, having him be somewhat smart, but not smart enough to be annoying to counteract. He also just perfectly works with the already existing resource management of the game, as him being unkillable but still stunnable, unlike almost every pursuer, well, outside the Resident Evil games, usually those are stunnable, is just an amazing idea. Truly, designing an enemy around being unkillable in a gun game about killing your foes will never not be terrifying to me, as it's a genius subversive take on the Pursuer archetype, having him still be stunnable, but for brief stints merely to get away once or twice. I know calling it subversive is a bit weird, as it is the originator of the genre technically, I believe so, but nowadays, with so many Pursuers just being generic chasers, it makes it incredibly enjoyable to actually be able to counteract them. I think another important aspect to him is that despite being unkillable, in terms of sheer damage, he's technically on an equal playing field with every other enemy. All of the non-Resident Evil Pursuers I've seen are just an insta-kill threat, like I said before, which makes them lose all tension the moment they touch you, adding to a big sense of frustration. On the other hand, Mr. X does the same damage to you as any enemy, giving him that tension while still leaving survival up to you. This, combined with the safe rooms, adds that little bit of safety that's necessary in horror games to effectively parallel the danger you're constantly in. Safety both existing and being taken away is paramount to how you design a good horror game, and Mr. X has it in droves. Of course, there's the aforementioned reveal that he can break into the lobby, a place that has almost always been safe throughout the game, save for when Brownout turns into a zombie, but he can also enter the safe rooms if you aren't careful, shattering the illusion of safety and making the game even more intense. I myself didn't actually experience that in my run though, which is a testament to the emergent gameplay stemming from his amazing enemy AI, one genuinely better than any other enemy I've seen in a horror game before. Upon leaving the RPD, the first half of the game, Mr. X pretty much entirely disappears, but his effect on the game is palpable, as I thought he'd jump out and reappear many times throughout the sewers and lab. Of which he actually did a few times, once in Ada's section, which was honestly the weakest of his appearance, sheerly because of the subpar map design of that area and the fact you can't counteract him at all, it's just running and doing a puzzle quickly. And he also appears in the lab right as you get the level 3 keycard, which is a fun shock as he hasn't appeared for hours at that point. This leads into the final confrontation, which is fine. I mean, it's a boss. There's no way it'd be as scary as the rest of the encounters, and blowing him up is absolutely satisfying, but there's really nothing to say about it. I mean, it's a Resident Evil 2 boss. They're just kinda meh. Overall, I find Mr. X to be a fascinating take on the Pursuer archetype that takes many aspects of Pursuers that just didn't work and fixed them. I know for sure he wouldn't be nearly as memorable if he just came out and jump scared you anytime he touched you, or if he was entirely possible to stun, or if he was, killable with one grenade. Yeah, we're not even gonna talk about Nemesis. I don't know how they did that. All of Mr. X's aspects come together to make a masterpiece of game design, horror design, and sound design, and he truly deserves the title of my favorite horror game monster of all time.